Only in Kentucky can a single county claim the highest rate of Union Army volunteers in the country, a 59-year blood feud that started with a pepper box pistol, and a small town named Whoopflaria. Hi, I'm Michael, and I'm learning a little bit more about Kentucky, one county at a time, all 120 of them. And today I'm learning about Owsley County. Owsley sits in the eastern coalfield region of the Appalachian Plateau, where the South Fork of the Kentucky River cuts through the hills. Before the arrival of modern highways, these narrow creek valleys and floodplains provided the only level land necessary for development and farming, allowing early settlers to push into the remote frontier. Today, the population of Owsley County is right around 4,000, making it the second least populated county in the Commonwealth. European settlement here was spearheaded by frontiersmen pushing through the wilderness. The very first recorded settlers were John Renty Baker and John Abner, who arrived around 1780 near the present Clay County line. Baker was a legendary long hunter, spending more than a year at a time deep in the forests of Kentucky and Tennessee. He lived among the Cherokees and made trading trips. He and his sons were gunsmiths, and they invented hand-operated machines to bore rifle barrels. In fact, Baker's father is often credited as one of the developers of the famous Kentucky rifle. Baker went on to father at least 21 documented children. After his wife died, he became a complete recluse, retreating into the wilderness and living out his final days in a natural rock shelter near the mouth of Buffalo Creek. While Baker settled the land, another famous frontiersman left his mark. Maybe literally. Daniel Boone hunted the area extensively between 1769 and 1771, and he later returned in 1784 to survey 50,000 acres of land. He used a massive stone at the mouth of Sexton's Creek as a starting point, carving his initials directly into what became known as Goose Rock. Changes in the river's course mean Boone's carved initials on Goose Rock are actually completely underwater and impossible to see even during a dry season. By 1843, the Kentucky legislature officially carved Owsley County out of Clay, Estill, and Breathitt counties, naming it after William Owsley, a judge on the Kentucky Court of Appeals who would later become the state's governor. The county seat was initially established on land donated by Elias Moore, but it was renamed Booneville in 1846 to honor Daniel Boone. As the new county was finding its footing, the descendants of John Renty Baker were cementing a much darker legacy. In 1843, a man named Dr. Thomas Baker, a grandson of the original Baker pioneer, became violently jealous of his wife's relationship with a man named John Bales. The two men actually worked together at a salt works in nearby Manchester. Well, one day Baker called Bales to the door of the facility and shot him point blank with a pepper box pistol. As he lay dying, Bales cursed Baker and illegally dedicated $10,000 from his own estate to ensure that his killer was captured and convicted. The resulting feud spiraled out of control, pulling in multiple families across the region. It raged for 59 years and ultimately cost more than 100 lives. When the Civil War erupted in 1861, Owsley County did not fracture like the rest of the state. It was overwhelmingly fiercely loyal to the Union. A greater proportion of the county's population volunteered for the Union Army, more than any other county in Kentucky, and likely any other county in the entire country at the time. Because of this intense unified loyalty, the county avoided the massive destruction that befell other county seats. As the 19th century turned into the 20th, the county's scattered communities developed unique identities. The settlement of LaRose was named after a local storekeeper named Leonard Rose, who simply went by the nickname Lee. His grandson, Chester Clay Rose, would later be tragically killed in Pearl Harbor in 1941 and remains entombed inside the wreckage of the USS Arizona. Another community, Whoopflaria, earned its bizarre name from two possible origins. The most accepted theory is that it mimics the distinct haunting whoop of owls, while a far more literal theory claims it comes from a frantic search party that spent the night literally whooping through the trees trying to find a lost person named Larry or Laura. I like the first one more. In 1899, the community of Pebworth produced a legitimate sports legend. Earl B. Combs grew up in the rural mountains, learning to play baseball using balls made out of string and old shoe material. He left the county at age 18 to attend the Eastern Kentucky State Normal School to become a teacher. While there, he played in a student-faculty baseball game, caught the eye of the coach, and joined the team. This contract was eventually purchased by the New York Yankees in 1924 for $50,000. He became the ideal leadoff hitter for the legendary 1920s Yankees, playing in the outfield right alongside Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. Combs helped New York win World Series before a brutal crash into an outfield wall in St. Louis fractured his skull, damaged his knee, and broke his shoulder. He transitioned into a coaching role and was officially elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1970. Back home in the 1930s, a stunning piece of folk art was created in the Conkling area. A traveling pack peddler named Granville Johnson fell gravely ill while passing through the area, and a local family took him in and nursed him back to health. As he regained his strength, Johnson hiked up the hill behind their house every single day with a hammer and chisel. And when he was finally well enough to travel again, he revealed a relief sculpture of Abraham Lincoln. He had carved the president's face directly into the stone as a permanent thank you gift and a surprise for the family that saved his life. It's now listed officially in the Smithsonian American Art Museum's inventory of folk art. As the 20th century progressed, the town of Boonville found an incredibly stable leader over the years. In 1959, Charles E. Long was elected mayor. He didn't just hold the office, he actively lived in the town's pioneer history, residing in a remodeled two-room cabin originally built by James Moore Jr., the town's very first postmaster, and the son of Boonville's original settler. Long remained in office for an astonishing 60 years until his death in 2019, making him one of the longest-serving mayors in the United States. Despite that local stability, the broader modern era has been incredibly difficult for Owsley County. With limited infrastructure and the steep decline of deep coal mining, the local economy collapsed. By the 2010 census, Owsley had the second highest level of child poverty in the U.S. and was ranked as the poorest county in the nation by household income. Health outcomes suffered alongside the economy. Between 1980 and 2014, the county saw a 45.6% increase in cancer death rates, the largest jump of any county in America. The physical landscape has also dealt some punishing blows. Two separate courthouse fires in 1929 and 1967 wiped out almost all of the county's early historical records, and catastrophic floods ravaged the area in 2021 and again in 2022. But this is a fiercely independent community that refuses to give up. Today, nonprofits are aggressively securing grants to rebuild flood-damaged homes, and a $19 million renovation is underway to upgrade the county's school system. Despite the hardships, the county holds tightly to the Daniel Boone National Forest, its deep pride in its Appalachian heritage, and a resilient people. So, that's Owsley County. What I get wrong this time?